Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today we are going to start our playthrough of Hellboy the board game, doing the door number 1 case. Remember, this is a spoiler playthrough. I'm not going to be blocking anything, so if you don't want to see spoilers for this case, don't watch this. If you don't mind, hang out with me. Also, if you want to see how we set up the game, check out the video before this one in the playlist. Let's jump in. The game comes with a nice quick reference summary on the back of the rules book. So you'll see here we have a round summary. There's a total of 5 phases. If we start with the enemy phase, which is right now, there's no enemies on the board, so we can skip that. We'll move right into the agents phase. During our turn, we can use our action cubes to move, fight, shoot, examine, interact, or clear. We also have 2 free actions. We can trade, but we can only do that if there are no enemies in our area, and we can explore, and that's what we're going to start with. You can only do this in an area with a door that has an unexplored room. We've got this temple here. We might as well unlock this door and see what we find. So you can see here on this card, we've got a couple different items. This is a 2-area room, so because of that, the top 2 items are in the first room, and the bottom 2 items are in the second room. So in this first room, we'll place a minion A and nothing else, and then the bottom one will have a clue and a minion B. Our minion A is a rampaging frog monster, and our minion B is the transforming frog monster. You can see them here and here. Now, with the Kickstarter, all of the clues, instead of clue tokens, they actually gave you little miniatures, and they're just different random things. So this one looks kind of like, I don't know, a box. So when we go there, if there's no one there, we can try and examine it. The rampaging frog monsters have a total of 6 health with 2 resilience. That means we have to do get more than 2 hits to be able to do any damage to them. They only attack melee, and then when they do that, they attack for 5 damage, and they're a brawler type. There are 3 different types of monsters: brawlers, ranged, and cowardly. Brawlers, they just run up to the person that's closest and attack them, and then use the target priority if people are the same distance away. They do have a paralyzing tongue. So if you roll that skull symbol when testing defense against them, so not when you're attacking them, but when you're defending against them, the target agent has to discard an action cube in addition to the normal effects of the rolling that skull symbol. So you actually have to lose actions. Kind of terrible. The transforming frog monster is cowardly. It has a movement of 2, resilience of 1, and health of 4. It attacks for 4. It actually morphs into different frogs, depending on what happens. So it says here, when this enemy is activated, roll the circle yellow die. On a score of 1, it is removed and replaced with a rampaging frog monster, which we can see right here, which activates immediately. If there are no rampaging frog monsters available, do not roll. So they're actually going to try and run away as fast as they can from us so that they can transform into one of these guys, and then these guys will come and chase us down. Looking at what we have in this room, I think I'm going to have Hellboy do our first action. So that means we're going to remove our first action cube, and we're going to have him move. He can move up to 2 spaces. Once you're in a location with an enemy, though, if you try and move out of that location, you have to take a damage to do so for each enemy that's in there because you're essentially engaged. So he's just going to move there, and then he's going to do his big right hook. This will cost him his remaining 2 cubes, so he's actually not going to have any more left. But he can make a fight action. If you hit the target, it suffers 3 additional damage, and it's stunned and hurled. So stunned means that the next time it activates, it won't. Hurled means we can throw it into an adjacent room, and any enemies in that room will have to roll a die, and if they take damage based upon whatever we roll on that die. Kind of cool. Hellboy's fight skill is red, so we'll roll 3 red dice. Now, if there are any other enemies in that area, he'd actually have to downgrade 1 die for each enemy. There aren't any other enemies in his area, so he's okay. If any of our other agents are in that same area, they could spend action cubes to upgrade our die, so we could go from red dice to black dice. From how I understand it, you can never upgrade or downgrade more than 1 level. So you can't spend 3 cubes and upgrade 1 die all the way from yellow to red or yellow to black, something like that. They can only ever be affected 1 up or 1 down. And if ever a yellow gets downgraded because it's the lowest, you just don't roll a die for that one. Whenever you do a test, you'll always roll the effect die. The effect die has these 6 sides, and each one will do different things. So the catastrophe, you have to discard your high scoring die. The +1 just adds 1. The +2 just adds 2 successes. The reroll, you can reroll any number of test dice. Remember, this is not a test die. This is an effect die, so you can't reroll this. You have the double the highest scoring die. That one's amazing when you get the ×2. And the BPRD, that's a wild card. Uses any other effect die result, which is pretty cool. Here we have our 3 red dice and our effect die. Remember, this guy's got 6 health with 2 resilience. We'll roll up. Oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. That is enough to actually kill him. Now, this is in the FAQ. Even if you kill an enemy with Hellboy's big right hook, you can still throw the carcass over to the other room. Just because that's totally thematic. So we've defeated this rampaging frog monster and chuck his carcass over into this room. Now, if there was any scenery in this room, and let's say we hadn't defeated this guy, he would destroy the scenery and he would take damage equal to the level of that scenery. Because scenery can be a level 1, 2, or 3, but we don't have to worry about that. There's no scenery in there. Now, this guy has to roll an orange die, and whatever he gets there, he'll take as damage. And from how I understand this, this goes through resiliency. So we'll roll. Okay, he takes 1 damage. To track damage, you do unfortunately have to use tokens that you place by the miniature. I always hate that. If I paint this, if I decide I like this game enough, which is likely, I'm going to paint this and I'll go ahead and put numbers on the bases so I can track them somewhere else. Because I hate doing that with the mini. I'll forget to move them and all of a sudden I don't know who will have that damage. But yeah. Anyways, so now Hellboy has done his whole turn. You don't have to have someone use their whole turn. Remember, we can do them in any order. It just worked out that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Abe now do a range attack. Now, how range attacks work is you have line of sight or visibility as long as the center of your tile can match the center, or the center of your area can match the center of the area of the enemy you're fighting. The problem is you have to downgrade your die for anybody that's in your way. So like right now, I'd have to downgrade 1 die because Hellboy is here. And then if we had another character here, whether it be an agent or an enemy, that would also downgrade our dice. You also cannot do a ranged attack whenever there's an enemy in your specific area. Be that as it may, we're going to go ahead and have Abe do a precision shot. So he can make a shoot action ignoring all scenery and all characters other than the target. So we can ignore Hellboy. We're sitting there aiming and shooting, but that does take 2 of our action tokens. We also have to have a weapon that allows us to do a ranged attack. Good thing we have the sidearm here, so that's how we're doing a range attack. You can't just do a range attack with nothing. To do the fight test, you don't have to have any weapon to do that fight test. So I'm going to do that, and normally for a shoot test, we would roll 3 red dice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend this additional action to upgrade 1 of those dice. That means we'll roll 2 red and 1 black, plus of course the effect die. Might be a little bit overkill. He only has 4 health with 1 resilience, and he has 1 damage. Oh, look at this. We can times 2. We can times 2 this 3 hits. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we took him out. See ya. That was all of Abe's actions. I know I'm doing this in order, but you don't have to do that. It's just the way it's working out. What I'm going to have is Johan use 1 action to move 2 spaces over to here, where the clue is. He's then going to do an examine action, and he's going to spend an extra 1 of his action points, so he's using his 3rd and final one to upgrade 1 of his dice. His examine is usually 3 red dice, but we'll get 2 red and 1 black because we decided to upgrade it. The reason I'm upgrading it is because if we roll between a 3 and a 5, we only get to advance the information gathered by 1. But if we can roll above a 5, so 6 plus, we actually get to advance it by 2. So I'm hoping that we get more than 6 or more successes. Let's give our dice a roll. And we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we get our bonus. So let's go ahead. And you know what? We'll use our special ability because we can. We have that deductive reasoning. It says when testing examine, spend this result to move the information gathered track an additional space. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would normally only move it 1 space. But with this, that means we get to move it 2 spaces. Remember, we want those insight tokens. 1, 2. So I want to get to these, as many of these as we can. We've completed our agent phase. We can now move to our rest phase. Since there are no enemies on the board, we could do a rest. That would mean we'd push up the Doom track, but we could all do some healing. We definitely don't need that now. Not going to do that. We'll now move to the Doom phase. All we have to do for the Doom phase is draw our top Doom card, and we have Visions of the Future. Advance the impending Doom track, so we have to advance that by 1 space. Then we can look at the top 3 cards of the deck of Doom, shuffle them, and return them face down to the top of the deck. Ooh, so we get to know what's coming. We'll push up our impending Doom 1 space. Don't forget, when we get to here, we have to go to the final confrontation, whether or not we're ready for it. Let's go ahead and look at the top 3 of these. We have our Carelessness Causes Fire, so we're going to have to advance the impending Doom track, then use target priority to choose an agent and put an Inferno in that agent's area. If their area already contains an Inferno, then that agent takes 1 damage. Okay, that's a bad one, and it's going to push up the impending Doom track. This one, we have noises up ahead. Advance the impending doom track, then put this card in play. The next time a room is explored, spawn an additional minion C in the area closest to the door, then discard this card. Oh, these are terrible. These are all, I guess, it's the deck of doom. What would you expect, right? Number 3, Obsessive Curiosity. Put this card into play next to Johan's agent board. If there are any clue counters on the board, Johan receives a downgrade on all tests other than examine tests. Discard this card when Johan scores a 6 or more on an examine test or when the agents take time. Take time is when we do our rest action. Boy, none of those are good. So I'm going to shuffle those up and then place them on top. But we know that 2 out of the 3 of these are going to push the impending doom track up. And one's going to start some fire, and another one's going to place out another minion. The final phase is our end phase, and for right now, because we don't have fires on the board or anything like that, we don't have frog swarms, all we have to do is recover all of our action tokens, so we'll all have 3 actions the next round, and then we'll start with the next round, which of course will jump right into the agent phase because there's no enemies on the board. We'll start off this round by having Hellboy explore this way. Let's see what we have. We have a clue in minion B here, and a scenery 1 and a frog swarm here. And we have an ambush. Our ambush states that the minion in the room is immediately activated as though it were the enemy phase. Well, that's a transforming frog monster there, so all we're going to do is we'll roll this die. We didn't get a 1. If we'd gotten a 1, he'd turn into a rampaging frog. Since he didn't, he's cowardly. He's going to run away. Cowardly enemies will always try and get as far away as possible from the agents, but they cannot go to unexplored areas. So all he's going to do is move to here. And this frog swarm doesn't attack. The only way we can get rid of it is with a clear action. And when you do that, you just take an action and remove it from the board. If there are multiple frog swarms out at the end of a round, it can push up the impending doom track. And if you're in a location with the frog swarm, it can downgrade dice. So that's what they do. Otherwise, they're just kind of a nuisance. That's it. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to have Abe use his first cube to move. And remember, he can move up to 3 spaces. But I think all we're going to do is have him move to... Oh, and you guys, I forgot. I needed to take this clue off of the board because we already investigated it. Then he's going to do his... He'll do an attack. He doesn't have to do a precise attack because there's only 1 minion here. So we're still going to spend the 2 cubes so we can upgrade one of his dice. So he'll roll 2 red and 1 black, and this one. He's hoping for 5 successes. That will take this guy out. We'll give our dice a roll, and we have, okay, we can re-roll 4, 5, 6. We don't need to re-roll. That is more than enough. We'll take out that transforming frog monster. Then we're going to go ahead and have Hellboy use 2 of his action cubes. One will be used to move 2 spaces, and the other one will just be used as a clear action to get rid of that frog swarm. I don't want that around. Then we'll have Johan do what he does best and explore. He's going to use all 3 action cubes. 1 will be to move here, and I shouldn't say explore, I should say examine. 1 to move into here, and then 2 to do our examine. 2 red and 1 black because we're upgrading one of our dice. Looking for 6 successes, please. Ooh. Oh, look at that, the times 2. So really we only got 5, but the times 2, that makes that a 6, 7, 8. 2 upgrades on the Gather Intel. We'll push this up 2 spaces, and we've gotten our first insight token. That will go onto Johan's card. Hellboy does have 1 more action token, but there isn't anything else that he can really do with it, so he's just not going to use it. I should have had Abe save 1 action so he could actually put the armored piercing ammo into his weapon. That's all right. You make mistakes, right? Okay, we have our carelessness causes fire. So first of all, we'll have to advance the impending doom track and then use the target priority, which will be Hellboy, and we'll have to place an inferno in his space. We'll move up 1 more here, and then we'll put an inferno in Hellboy's space. Because we used our target priority, Hellboy gets pushed to the back, and we move ourselves up 1. Because there's an inferno in Hellboy's room, during the end phase, we have to resolve it. So what we do is we have to roll a red die. If we roll a 0, it goes out on its own. That's not going to happen. If we roll a 1, 2, or 3, then the character in that room, or any characters, take that amount of damage. Goes through resiliency. Hellboy, though, don't forget he's fire resistant, so he'll only take 1 no matter what. Also, if we roll a 3, the fire spreads to an adjacent room. Let's see what we get. We'll get a 0. Oh, wow. Actually, that does mean that this goes out. Great. So far, we've been able to manage the enemies, so none of them are attacking us. So during that enemy phase, don't have to do anything. We'll start the next round by having Hellboy explore as a free action. We'll flip this up. Oh, we get 2 frog swarms and a clue in location 1, and just a minion D and nothing in this second space. Now, the minion D is the armed frog monsters, and they're probably the most challenging, so let's look at their card quick. They have a move 2, resilience 2 with 6 health, but they attack for 7. Ow. And they have a counterattack. So if you roll the skull when making a fight test against this enemy, so that is actually when you're attacking it. Now, if you do a shoot test, it doesn't happen. It's only for a fight test. The agent making that test suffers 2 damage in addition to the normal effects of rolling that skull. We could see here if we'd like to try and shoot this armored frog swarm, and I actually think we maybe could, actually, from there. Because if it ever goes off the board, you can't. You have to be able to go center to center. So actually we might be able to, but I don't think that's a good idea. Not with Hellboy. I think we're going to have Hellboy take care of those frog swarm. So we're going to spend all 3 actions that he has here to go ahead and move into this room and then remove both frog swarms. Okay. Because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Abe spend 1 action to move himself to, remember he can move up to 3 with 1, and then do, let's see. Let's go ahead and spend the action on the armor-piercing ammo. So we're going to spend the action cube to flip the armor-piercing ammo over, and it's going to attach to our sidearm. That's going to mean that every time we do a shoot action, the enemy we're fighting or shooting has the resilience reduced by 2. So that means this guy has no resilience against our ranged attack, which we'll do with our 3rd cube. What I could do is I could have Johan come into the room with us and then boost up our attack. I don't think we're going to need it. I think we'll just do the 3 red dice, because that's what our shoot is, 3 red dice and the effect die. We're open for 6 total successes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. We almost had it. We did 5 damage to him. Well, the question becomes, can Johan do 3 points of damage to get through this guy before he attacks us? Let's try it. He'll spend 1 action to move. His 2nd cube, he'll use his ranged attack. Now, he normally only rolls orange dice for ranged attacks, and don't forget he can do that because he has his sidearm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 2, or the final action that he has, to upgrade 1 die. So that means he'll roll 2 orange, 1 red, and of course, the effect die. Come on, Johan, I believe in you. Look at that roll. This can times 2 this, that'd be 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that armored frog was not ready for him. We've completed the agent phase. We move to the rest phase. We're not going to rest. We're going to keep chugging along. We're going to draw our Doom card for our Doom. And we get, oh, dang, I was hoping that we would get Johan's, because I left that clue on the board, hoping that he could get a 6+ and just get rid of it right at the beginning of the next round. We have noises up ahead. Advance the impending Doom track, then put this card into play. The next time a room is explored, spawn an additional minion C in the area closest to the door, then discard this card. That means our Venomous Frog is coming out next time. So we've moved up the impending Doom track. Let's now go ahead and start our next round. We're going to start with Johan this time. We're going to start by trying to examine this clue. We're going to spend 2 of his actions to do this. We'll use his final one then to move over to here and explore that room. That means our 2 fighters will have all 6 of their actions to be able to fight whatever comes in here, plus that Venomous Frog. Because we spent that extra action, we've got an extra black die for this test. Let's roll them up. And we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that'll push up the information track by 2. That will give us our 2nd intel token. Perfect. We'll then have Johan spend his 3rd action to move just up to here and do an explore action so we can find. We'll have 2 minion Cs. Oh. And I'm realizing this is our first big room, so I want to show you this. You go around clockwise, so that means we'll place 2 minion Cs here because of that noises up ahead. We'll place an additional minion C. So 2 minion Cs here, a minion D here, a clue here, and a scenery 1 here. And what you have to remember is when there's a tile like this, you can move diagonally. That includes the enemies can move diagonally. Our minion Cs are venomous frog monsters. They move 2, resilience 2, they have 6 health. If they can attack range, they'll attack range first. They attack for 5. But if they're in the same room as you, they will do a melee attack of 5. They have the paralyzing tongue, so if the skull is rolled when testing defense against this enemy, the target agent discards an action cube, in addition to the normal effects. Now that we have some minions on the board, let me explain how the different areas work. So when you have an area, you can have a total of 6 units in a specific area. Scenery, based on their number on them, count as a specific unit. So we can place 5 worth of units on here. That would be 5 different characters between agents and enemies. Scenery can potentially be thrown to deal damage that can also be used as cover. So if you are in this space getting shot ranged, the scenery will take the first point of damage. You'd take the remaining, and then this would be destroyed. Scenery can also be set on fire from different effects like that Inferno. Remember that scenery that we had over in the other tile? That would have been set on fire, but that Inferno blew itself out. Clues can also be destroyed by Infernos, just so you know. Although I didn't read the comics, I did see the Hellboy movies, so I'm going to spend one action from Hellboy. Seems like something he would do. He would run in here to wallop on these guys. I'm then going to spend his 2 remaining tokens to do his big right hook. So as long as he hits, that target will suffer 3 additional damage and is stunned and hurled. Now, he would normally roll 3 red dice because he's doing a fight action, but there's one other enemy in the area that's not his target, so he'll actually have to downgrade one of his dice. He'll be rolling 1 orange and 2 red. I wish that I had someone in that space with him, and I could have Abe move in there, but then Abe can't do the ranged attack that I'm planning, so I think it's worth it. I'm going to have him run in here, try and shove one of these guys out of here, throw them at this guy, stun them so they won't activate, and then we'll have Abe do a range attack. As long as we get 3 successes, we'll deal +3 damage, hurl him, stun him, all that good stuff. Oh yeah, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the 3, that's totally going to kill him. That's a total of 10 hits. He only has resilience of 2, so that's 8 of total health that we would have taken out, and he only has 6. So we're going to throw his carcass into that other room. That means that Armored Frog is going to take 1 orange die of damage. So let's roll it, and he takes 1 point. I'll still take it, though. 1 point of damage. Now we've got Abe way back here, and what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to do his range attack. I'm going to do his precision shot. We're going to use his harpoon. It does mean we're going to have to flip it over, and he's going to lose it. He's going to have to find it when we do a take time, but we will get to add 4 to his test. So flip this card to use it as a ranged weapon, adding 4 to the test score. So we've already getting 4 successes. We're also going to be, and you can see here, it says flip this card when the agents take time. He's misplaced his harpoon. It's pretty funny. But so that means he won't be able to use that for a melee attack. But you can see I'm hardly ever using him for melee attacks. Because we're using him for the precision shot, he gets to choose anyone that's in range and ignore everything else, all the other characters and scenery that are blocking their way. We're going to go for the big armored frog monster here. So he has a total of 5 health with 2 armor, so we're looking for 7 successes. We already have 4, so we just need 3 left. So I'll spend those 2 action points to do this. Normally we would have 3 characters in our way, so we'd have to downgrade all 3 of these dice to orange. But because we're doing that precise strike, don't have to do that. All right, looking for a total of 6 successes. Come on. Oh my gosh, that will double this. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See ya, Armored Frog. Abe does have one more action. We're going to use it to move ourselves into this same space. We'll have to skip the rest phase because there's an enemy out, so we'll just move right to the Doom track and we know what it is, Obsessive Curiosity. So we have to put this next to Johan's agent board. If there are any clue counters on the board, which there are, Johan receives a downgrade on all other tests other than the examine, so he needs to do that. He can either discard this, either by getting a 6+ on the test, or if we take time. We'll go ahead and move to the end phase. We'll recover all of our actions. And since there's no frog swarms or infernos, that's all we need to do. We will now finally do an enemy phase. That venomous frog has Hellboy and Abe in the same location as him, so he's going to use the priority track to determine who to attack. Right now, Abe is in the front, so that means Abe's going to get attacked, and we'll move everyone else down. Now, what we could do is we could have someone like Hellboy, who's in that same location, spend action tokens to help Abe with his defense and pump it up. But I think we'll just take it for this attack. He's getting attacked for 5. Let's see how he rolls with his 3 yellow dice. Oh. Fortunately, Abe heals pretty well, so that's why I'm just going to take it. Take it on the chin. So this is 5 damage minus... Oh no, that's not good. So first of all, that's a catastrophic failure, so we lose our highest success. So we have just 1 success. But the other thing is, this venomous frog has an ability whenever we roll this when he is getting when he attacks. This venomous frog has a paralyzing tongue, so if the skull symbol is rolled when testing defense, which of course it is the first time, the target agent discards an action cube for the round. So now Abe only has 2 action cubes for this round. And of course he takes a whopping 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ow. Yeah, one more and we start flipping these, and that's going to affect his tests. So the good thing is he has rapid healing. When we do take some time, he'll automatically heal 2. Well, Hellboy just saw one of his friends get totally hammered. He's not so happy about that. So during the agent phase, spending the 2, doing the big right hook, and I think Abe, do we think that that's going to be enough? No, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have Abe assist on this one so we can upgrade one of the dice to black. So we'll roll 2 red and 1 black, trying to take this guy out. If nothing else, if we're 1 damage away, we can chuck him into this room with his hurl action, and then when he does that, he'll take the point of damage from this token. We'll grab our dice, give it a roll, and let's see. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can use this as a ×2. What do you guys say? 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we took him out. Now we could hurl him, but there's nobody else there, so it doesn't really matter. Let's then go ahead and have Johann go next. So he'll spend 1 action to move 1 and then diagonally into where this clue is. And we're going to spend our 2 actions to investigate that. We better get 6+ so we can get rid of that obsessive curiosity. We normally roll red for an examine, but because we spent that extra action, we will roll 1 black. Come on, 6 or higher. That's all we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. That will discard obsessive curiosity, and we get 2 more intel. We'll move up 2 more. We just missed getting an insight token, but our next clue, we should be able to do that. Abe and Hellboy each have 1 action left. We'll just go ahead and move them right up to here. I'm not going to do an explore action yet, because then we're just going to get hammered by enemies. So we'll wait here. I could, we'll move into that rest action phase. I could rest, but then we're pushing up that impending doom. So when you do a rest action, you have to push up the impending doom. Yeah, people would heal, but I've got my field dressings that Hellboy can use. Abe is now in the back of the priority track. So I think, yeah. And actually, you know what? I'm going to undo one thing. I'm going to move Hellboy back, and I'm going to have him use his 3rd action for Taunt. Taunt states that we can move Hellboy's marker to the front of the target priority track, and that's what I want. I do not want Johann in the front, and I definitely don't want Abe in the front. We'll then move to the Doom phase, flip our next card, and we have time's a-wasted. Advance the impending Doom track. Yeah, I don't want to waste time. We're already pushed to the 5 space. Man, we're going to run out of time real fast. During the end phase, we've all gotten our actions back. Let's go ahead and have Abe do his free explore and see what we find. We find a minion B, a frog swarm and minion C, a frog swarm, and a point of interest 2. Oh, our first point of interest. Remember, that's what we've been trying to find. When we interact with that, we actually get to discard the next case card and move the story along. Hopefully we can get somebody in here and interact with this as soon as possible to see what happens next. Let's go ahead and have Hellboy spend his first action to move 2 spaces. He's going to move into this space right here. We'll then just do a regular attack. This guy only has 4 health with 1 resistance, and there's no other enemies in that area, so he won't have any downgraded dice. We'll roll 3 red dice and the effect die, looking to try and take him out with 1 hit. If we can allow Johann to run over to that point of interest and try and look at it and see what happens. So we'll roll 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, that transforming frog didn't have time to transform. Then what we'll do is we'll have Abe spend 1 action to move himself into this room, and then he'll spend another action to go ahead and shoot that guy. And I think I'm going to have Hellboy use his 3rd action that he has here to power it up. So normally he would roll 3 red dice, but he'll power 1 of them up to a black. And remember, he's going to be using his sidearm for this since he doesn't have his harpoon. He's still looking for it. He chucked it. He doesn't know where it is. But that sidearm does have the resilience -2. So this guy, who's the venomous frog, normally has 2 resilience. He has nothing. So we're just looking for 6 damage. 6 damage right here. Let's see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See a venomous frog. Now, I really wanted to check out this point of interest, but I'm realizing we have 2 frog swarms. Whenever there's 2 frog swarms out at the end phase, we have to push up the impending doom track. That's not fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to spend all 3 actions for Johann. Johann will move 1, 2 for his first action, 1 for his second, and his 3rd one, he'll clear this off of the board, but at least that means we're not going to be pushing up the impending doom because of the frogs. Abe has 1 more action. If he had 2, I could do something, but no, I had to use 2 actions. I'm going to have him move over here to this frog swarm. Oh no, because during the end phase, the frog swarm is going to run away from him anyways. Yeah, I'll have him move here instead, and he can do the interact, so someone has to spend an action moving into there. Resting's for wimps. Let's go ahead and move right to the Doom phase. We've got beady eyes. Advance the impending Doom track. Use target priority to choose an agent, then place a frog swarm in that agent's area. Oh man, I got rid of one, and it's not going to matter. It's still going to push up the impending Doom. We'll have to push this up by 1, and because we're using target priority, man, Hellboy's going to go to the back again. We placed our frog swarm right here. Now we'll move to the end phase. Frog swarms never want to be in a location with an agent, so we're going to have this frog swarm move into that location. And now there's 2 on there, so that's going to push up the blasted impending Doom track. Holy moly, we're really running out of time. We've all recovered our actions, so let's start that next round. There's no enemies, so we'll move right to the agent phase. The first thing we'll do is we'll have Abe interact with this token. We'll remove it, and then we'll look at our case file. It states, if an agent interacts with a point of interest, discard this card. So we'll discard this. Here, a small plinth holds an engraved plaque. Looking at it carefully, you recognize the shape. There's a small, similar-shaped recess on either side of the stone door. Thankful to have found an obvious course of action, you snatch up the plaque and are rewarded with a low rumbling. The door slams shut, and the whole room begins to shake. This can't be good. The agent who interacts with this point of interest moves it into onto their agent board, then flip this card. Remove all doors from the game board, then leaving all characters, counters, and encounter cards where they are, and without rotating any rooms, move them around to match the layout shown below. We're going to be changing the whole board. Move this card to the in-play area. If an agent carrying a point of interest is in the starting area, they can spend an action cube to slot the engraved plaque into one of the recesses on either side of the stone door. If they do, put the point of interest into the sealed room marked Y. Discard this card if an agent interacts with another point of interest. So we have to place this up into the in-play area, and I have to reset up the entire board. What the hell is this place? Some kind of moving maze? It's fascinating, but there's no time to gaze in wonderment. You've got a job to do, and we are running out of time. First step is finding the other plaque, even if it kickstarts this crazy contraption all over again. If an agent interacts with a point of interest, move it onto their agent board, then flip this card. Remember to also discard the other case file card if that's in play. Cool. So now here we have our map. We're way down here. We have one room over here that still has an encounter card. So all these rooms that we've already explored, we will leave them without an encounter card, and the doors are considered open. That's why I don't have the doors out unless they matter. Like I have this door way up here, and I have it opened, reminding me that I have that room open up there. So if we do move actions, we can move right through these no problem. So we know we need to find this other plaque, and it could be in this room over here, or it could be in any of these ones up here. I feel like it's prudent. I should check that one out, because if it is that one, it would stink if we went through all the other ones. There'd be no way we could get back to this one. So we've done one action with Abe here. Unfortunately, I think we're going to use Johan's entire turn to move here and get rid of both frog swarms. Ugh, that's terrible, right? I mean, that's not great use, but we need to get rid of those. Otherwise, we push up our impending doom. We'll then have Abe use his second action token to move 3. Remember, his ability is to move 3. So he's going to move 3 and then reveal this room. If this has the point of interest number 2, I'm going to be so happy. No, it doesn't. We should have left it. Okay, so we're going to have minion C here, a clue here, minion B, and nothing here. But this does say damp problems. Infernos cannot be placed in this room. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside to remind us of that. We have a venomous frog here and a transforming frog over here. So now I have an interesting dilemma. Do I run away from that room? I mean, there's a clue in there, but that's not where we want to go. We want to find that plaque. Well, Abe only has one more action. Let's go ahead and use it and attack this guy. We've got our weapon that gives us -2 to resilience, so we just need 6 successes, and it's going to be a range attack, so we'll get to roll 3 red dice with the effect die. We'll give him a roll. Come on, 6 successes. 1, 2. Okay, what can we do to make that work? 1, 2. We could double that. That'd be 4. It'd only be 5 successes. You know what? We could change this to a reroll. If we change that to a reroll, we could reroll these 2. Maybe a good idea. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1 damage away. This is where I could have been smarter. I could have brought Hellboy into that location, and he could have used one of his cubes to power up Abe's attack. I didn't do it. It is what it is. So that means I'm going to have to spend 1 action for Hellboy to run 2 spaces, another action from Hellboy to move 2 more spaces, he's going to come all the way in here and shoot this guy. I don't want to deal with him. So third action, we're going to, and I shouldn't say shoot, we're going to fight him. We're going to punch him in the face. We'll roll 3 red for this activation. We just need 3 successes. Yeah, that's more than enough. No, it's not. We rolled this. This is going to cancel out our highest die. So we still have only 1 success. This guy's got 2 resilience. Oh, man. We didn't take him out. Johan hasn't gone. I was planning on keeping him over here, but once again, I don't think it's worth it. We'll have him move 2 spaces to here, and then let's go ahead and have him shoot into this space. We'll spend an extra action because there is an agent in here, so that's going to reduce his normal dice he gets to roll. So normally for an attack from him range, he used 3 orange, but we have to reduce 1 by 1 because Hellboy is in there. So we'd have 1 yellow and 2 orange. But we used our third action token to upgrade that, so we went back to the 3 orange. We just need 3 successes to take him out, and we have our effect die. 3 orange dice and an effect die. Come on, 3 successes. 3 successes. 1, 2, 3. Boom! Took him out. Just barely. We finished the agent phase. We cannot rest. We'll skip that phase. We'll go right to the doom phase. And we have the ancient curse. Use target priority to choose an agent. Put this card in play next to that agent's board. Who's in the front right now is Johan, unfortunately. The next time a success is rolled as a test, you actually have to treat that as a skull. Oh. Then you'll discard that card. The one good thing about doing that is because we used target priority, we can now switch it, and now it is Abe in front instead of Johan. During the end phase, we'll all just grab our action tokens back and we'll start our next round. We'll start by activating this transforming frog. He is cowardly, so the first thing we'll do is just roll the die, roll that yellow die. If we don't get a success on it, then he's just going to stay where he is because it's as far away as he can be from our agents. Let's start by rolling that yellow die. Oh man, it is going to turn into one. I was hoping it wouldn't. So it's going to turn into a rampaging frog, which will then come and immediately attack Hellboy. He changes into this guy, and then he will come and move into Hellboy's space. Now that wasn't using the priority track because he is a brawler and he just attacks the closest one, the closest agent. If there were multiple closest agents, then they use the priority track. So this won't affect the priority track. He'll just come in and attack Hellboy. Hellboy rolls 3 orange dice for his defense. Hellboy's getting attacked for 5 damage, so we're looking for 5 successes here. And this can be anything we want. I mean, let's make it, we can reroll. I think we'll just do it times 2. 4, so we'll only take 1 wound, and that's face down because that's our first wound. That's not bad. To start our agent phase, we're going to go ahead and have Abe spend 2 of his precious actions out of 3 to do the precision shot. This way, Hellboy being in the same area will not lower his dice value, so he's rolling 3 red. Then we'll have Johan spend 1 action cube to bump up one of those red to a black, and Abe is going to be using his sidearm, which we have put that piercing ammo, so his resilience is reduced by 2. So we just need 6 successes. We can do this, Abe. We can do this, Abe. I believe in you. We have a great roll. 2, 3, 4. We can use this as a times 2, so that's 4, 5, 6. Boom. That takes him out. No problem. Abe's final action we'll use to have him run over by this door. Then what we're going to do is have Johan spend his 2 action cubes, 1 to move here and 2 to do an examine. I'm trying to decide. Hellboy has all 3 of his actions. Does he want to go and help? I think he will. He'll spend 1 action to move into here, and then he'll spend 1 of his cubes to help Johan do that examine. Don't forget Hellboy's special ability. It says once per round when Hellboy spends an action cube to upgrade a test die for either himself or another agent, you actually get to upgrade 2 dice. So that's why we're doing 2 black, 1 red. We're looking for 6 successes here at least. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. So we'll remove this clue, which this is one of my favorite ones. Looks the coolest. And we'll move up 2 on the gather information track. We're going to grab for us another intel token. That's our 3rd one. With that 3rd action from Hellboy, he'll move here. Johan's a little farther behind, but that's okay. He's not our attacker. We've got these 2 ready for the next round. I could do a rest, but I'm really worried about running out of time on that Doom tracker, so I'm not going to do that. We'll move to that Doom phase. Let's flip this. We've got time wasting. Advance the impending Doom track. We'll push this up, and look at this. We only have, 2 more of those before we're going to get pushed into that final confrontation, and I've got a lot of the map still to explore. So yeah, that's why no resting for us. There's no enemies on the board, so we'll jump right into the agent phase. Yeah, and there's nothing we need to do in the end phase either. So everyone's got their action tokens. Let's move to that next round. First thing we'll do with Abe is we'll get our free Explorer. Let's reveal this card. We have a cabinet, Minion C, a Frog Swarm, and Scenery 1 and Minion A in the other room. A cabinet is a specific type of scenery. So when this is set up, you place 2 marker cubes on it. You can see these 2 black cubes. And then when an agent interacts with this scenery, you can remove a marker cube and then heal 2 damage from that agent or another agent in the same area. Once the marker cubes are removed, the scenery can no longer be interacted with. So that's a specific, special type of scenery. You can tell that because it's yellow here. It says that 3. Now I've got these 3D terrain that I kind of like. So I'm going to place this here just to denote, hey, that's a cabinet that has some healing potions in it. The other thing you need to know is that's considered 3 out of the total 6 that we can have in this location. So I can't have more than right now 2 agents come into this spot before it's full. Same thing with enemies. We have a venomous frog monster here, and we have a rampaging frog monster over here. Abe's going to do what he does best. He's going to use his sidearm to make an attack, only using 1 action cube because he doesn't have to worry about anything being in his way of line of sight. He's going to use the piercing armor shot, so it's going to -2 his resilience. He just needs 6 successes. He's rolling 3 red dice and the effect die. We'll give his dice a roll. We just need 6 successes. Come on. No. You know what happened? He got nothing. This is going to cancel it out, and we're going to have to recharge our weapon. If you look here, it says if you roll a skull when using this, you have to flip it over. And then this one says discard when the weapon's out of ammo. It's out of ammo. So we had our armor piercing ammo on there for a while, but it's no longer there. Bummer. I do think for our second action, we are going to flip this back over. We need to be able to attack range. Since we already threw our harpoon, we wouldn't have a way to attack range, but now we do. Let's go ahead and try that one more time, shall we? We'll spend our third action and attack. This time, we need 8. You know what? I'm going to wait to do that. I'm going to have somebody else in my room that can help pump up my attack. Johan will have to spend 2 actions, 1, 2, 1, 2, to get here, but that's okay. He'll spend his third one then to pump up Abe's attack. So Abe's attack will be 1 black die and 2 red dice going against this guy, but now he needs 8 successes. Ugh. 1 black, 2 reds, 8 successes. Right here. Come on. No. 3, 4, 5. So we did 3 damage. What do you guys say we use our deep pockets for Hellboy? We can flip this card during the agent phase to draw from the bottom of the requisition deck until you find one of these 3 different types of cards. Keep it and return the others back to the deck. So we'll flip this, and let's see what we find. Our first card, we found a stun grenade. Okay, that's one that we can keep. A ranged weapon, do not make a shoot test. Instead, each character in the target area is stunned. Discard after use. Ooh, that's kind of cool. We'll keep that out ready for us. What do you guys say we do the same thing here? This says, discard this card during the agent phase to draw the bottom card of the requisition deck. Keep it if it's this type. Otherwise, return it to the deck and discard this card. So we have another card, and this one's a concussive grenade. Yeah, that's the right type. We can keep that. We'll have to discard this, but we have a concussive grenade. We already had one of those, so it's just another one where we can throw some dice into a location, 3 red dice, and deal damage there. Sweet. If only we were 1 space closer, you guys. We're going to have to spend 2 actions for Hellboy to get him into this location. 3, 4, 5, we're still okay. There's not more than 6 units here. Then we'll use our third one just to do a fight test. We're rolling 3 red and 1 effect die. This guy, what? He has 3 health left, but we have 2 resilience we have to get through, so we're looking for 5 successes. We got this. We got this. 5 successes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. Took him out. No rest for the weary where there's still an enemy out, so we'll just draw a card from the Doom track, or the Doom stack, and we have advanced the impending Doom track. We're getting killed with time, you guys. Look at this. Only 2 more impending Doom increases. Ugh. Now, we go to that end phase. We do have a frog swarm out, but no agents are in that location, and there's only 1, not 2, so we don't have to worry about increasing the impending Doom. We'll just go ahead and start the next round by activating that rampaging frog monster. During that enemy phase, we have our rampaging frog monster. He's going to move right into here, 3, 4, 5, so he can still fit in here, and he's going to attack Hellboy for a total of 5 damage. Hellboy's defense is orange, so let's give it a roll and see. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We could re-roll. You know, that's pretty good. I think I'll take that because there's some misses on here, and if I re-roll to blanks, we'll take 2 damage. 3 minus or 5 minus 3 is 2 damage. That means we have a total of 3 damage on us. What do you guys say Hellboy does a big right hook, huh? Spend 2 actions. As long as he hits, he deals plus 3 damage, and you'll hurl him. We can hurl him into that scenery, too. So that's 3 red and an effect die here going against that Rampaging Frog. We'll give our dice a roll. Let's see what we get. We get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 damage. He has 2 resistance, so that deals 2 damage. But then we deal additional 3 damage because we used our big right hook. So that's 5. And then we're going to hurl him into the other room. This is pretty sweet. When we throw him into this room, he hits that scenery. That scenery gets broken. It's removed from the board. And he gets 1 point of damage because that scenery is a level 1. If it was a level 3 scenery, he'd take 3 damage. But with that 1 damage, he's removed from the board. Awesome throw. Now I'm realizing this room doesn't have any enemies on it, so I'm going to remove this door. That's important because I think I'm going to have Abe go next, and I'm going to have him run. I'll have him spend 1 action. He can move 3 spaces with 1 move. I'll have him do action 2. He can move all the way up to here. And then action 3, he's going to throw his point of interest into this space. I have no idea if this is going to help us or not, but since we have one of the plaques, we're going to slot that one in. We'll then have Hellboy interact with one of these potions, and he's going to heal himself for 2 damage. I was going to heal Abe, but Abe, I think, was better running over there. So he healed 2 out of the 3 damage on us, and that was our final action. Johan will then spend 1 action to move here, 2 to do a clear to remove this, and then action 3, we'll just get ourselves up right next to this door. We're still not resting because we don't feel like we have time. We have helpful skeletons. Put this card in play. Any agent can spend 2 action cubes or a single rest action to discard this card, then either look at any face-down encounter card, returning it face down after that, or look at the top 2 cards of the deck of Doom, replacing them face down in the same order. Oh, cool. And that must be something from the comics that I don't get. Apparently, these skeletons are helping Hellboy. Well, we still have 3 more rooms we need to explore to try and find that other plaque. 1 here, and 1 all the way over here. I really hope it's not that one. If it is, I don't think there's a chance for us to get there. Let's move to that next agent phase, because during the end phase, we'd all grab our action tokens. There's no enemies on the board, and we'll move back to the agent phase.